You are listening to the global network of podcasters dedicated to the pharmacy profession. Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Welcome to the 2026 McKesson ideaShare Rewind, a Pharmacy Podcast Network exclusive series of on-site interviews captured inside the exhibit hall of one of the largest community pharmacy brainstorm events, empowering current and future independent pharmacists with deeper connections, new ways to innovate, and strengthen numbers for the voice of community pharmacy. This 4-part series brings you back to the action in Denver, Colorado. We'd like to thank AAPA for sponsoring this episode of the 2026 McKesson ideaShare Rewind.
This is Kate Helf, VP of Pharmacy Innovation, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
We are here with Kate at the IPC booth at the McKesson ideaShare 2026. Kate, welcome to Denver.
Thank you so much for having me, Todd. I love Denver. I don't come here all that often, but all right, we'll embrace it.
I don't get to see anything. I go from airport to Uber, Uber to hotel, hotel to the exhibits, and then I go home.
Did you go on the train too? There's a train.
I didn't get it to ride a train.
The train.
So I'm missing all the good stuff in Denver. And then as I'm in the Uber, I'm looking out saying, look how beautiful Denver is.
It is a lot of, we didn't see a lot of mountains yet, but now we can see them. So.
Yeah. All right, it's time to talk business. I would like when you come on the show because we always shift things to the world of technology, embracing technology. IPC is encouraging its members to pick tools specific to what they want to do.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Well, every pharmacy is incredibly different. We're obviously in various states, and there's a lot of different things that each store has a niche in or that they're ultimately a part of. And so really what we're trying to bring is a digital suite of services to support our pharmacy and become a little bit more modern in their way of thinking. So ultimately, we are looking at ways of, direct to consumer or different ways to diversify reimbursement and letting pharmacies pick from our digital suite of services to help them do that.
So what of the services are standing out where you're seeing the independent community pharmacy embrace and then turn around and show that it's successful in use?
Yeah.
Share with us one of the tools that is getting the most play.
Yeah, I think our partnership right now that we're really excited about is Doctronic. And Doctronic is a telehealth platform that pharmacies can utilize as really kind of their back end. So they support urgent care, but they also can be a primary care option for those really rural pharmacies. The reason we really love Doctronic is they have an Apple-like mentality. They really have kind of moved away from the app base and really more support of the web browser. So depending on the demographic of patient that you're servicing, they can go directly to the platform and start their visit. What's so cool about them is they have an AI doctor. They have an awesome platform, HIPAA certified, and any patient can go on and just start to talk about any of the health concerns or things that they're having. And then the AI doctor will complete a SOAP note. And depending on that pathway, they can either say, great, they got the information they needed, or they want to talk live to a provider, and then they'll take that SOAP note and those providers will review it. And then the patient had a visit for $39 to be able to get a comprehensive visit. So we are really excited about that because we're seeing a lot of pharmacies transition to supporting more of an urgent care need, but also we're seeing so many healthcare deserts pop up. Yep. And you can't see a primary provider for 45 miles. That pharmacy can now be that primary care option, which is really exciting.
That is exciting. What about testing? How does testing fit into this?
Testing is going to be something more coming in, I think, down the line here. That's not something that I think is ultimately the main focus of this, but we're always looking at different ways to bring comprehensive, testing options to pharmacies as well.
All right, and then the information that's collected, what system is this information being being tracked in? How is it being tracked?
It's all through Doctronic's platform.
Okay.
So they have their own EHR, of course, again, HIPAA certified, and that information is being, ultimately shared with that provider so they can actually have a really, comprehensive visit. What's really a problem I see in healthcare right now is that so many patients have to tell their same exact health story all the time.
Fill this form out over and over and
every
over.
time, and they're sick of it. So this platform has really been intentional about that, and they're taking those SOAP notes, so the patient creates their own profile. They can go in and review those SOAP notes at any time. They could actually take those SOAP notes to their primary provider if they wanted to and have them review it so they don't have to continue to say the same thing over and over. So the patient has access to all that information through their profile.
What kind of connection is happening between Doctronic and the pharmacy management system?
So that piece now is being ultimately explored.
Okay.
They don't really feel right now that that has to be a big primary focus because it's so easy to go directly onto the web browser at this time.
That's good. I was saying if the profile is already there, if there's a way to share some of that basic information with Doctronic to kind of expedite. But then again, if they're already collecting it from the session, then that kind of takes care of it. And it makes sure it's corrected.
Exactly, which is huge.
Yeah.
And I think, again, the memory piece of that is so key and something that you really don't see that much in our healthcare world today.
Kate, what are you most excited about for the future of independent community pharmacy?
Oh my goodness, what am I most excited about? I'm excited about so many things, but I am really excited about our stores really taking more of a modernized approach, and that's really what we're trying to do here with digital. I've talked about telehealth, but one area that so many of my peers know that I'm passionate about is general health and wellness. Mm-hmm. And we really have some really exciting partnerships here at the show. We partnered with FullScript, and they are a full-scale, essentially storefront of high-quality supplementation, labs, etc. And I really see pharmacies and consumers starting to go down that path, and I get so passionate about it because I really think there's a place for reactive care and there's a place for proactive care. And when you bring those two together, you have a community pharmacy at the center, and that's where I think they make the most impact on their community.
Kate, this was wonderful catching up with you. Thanks so much for being on our Pharmacy Podcast press coverage.
Thank you for having me, Todd.
Independent pharmacy is more than a business. It's the heart of the communities you serve. At AAPA, we're committed to helping independent pharmacies thrive in an increasingly complex healthcare landscape. As one of the nation's leading pharmacy purchasing organizations, AAPA empowers over 650 independent pharmacies across 26 states with the tools, resources, and advocacy needed to strengthen profitability and improve patient care. From competitive purchasing programs and transparent rebate opportunities to advanced analytics through the Advantage portal and AI-powered purchasing insights from Clara, the Advantage Intelligence, we help pharmacy owners make smarter, data-driven decisions every day. But we're more than a GPO. We're a dedicated partner. Our team works alongside members to identify opportunities, navigate industry challenges, and deliver personalized support that drives measurable results. When independent pharmacies succeed, communities benefit. If you're ready to maximize your purchasing power, gain actionable insights, and join a network committed to your success, discover the AAPA difference. AAPA. Stronger together, smarter purchasing, better results.
Vice President, Chief Pharmacy Officer at McKesson and Helf Mart. You're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Welcome back, Nancy. Lyons, McKesson ideaShare 2026. I blink and we're back. And it's like, how fast does this time come when it's time for another ideaShare?
Faster and faster every year, especially for the people planning the show. I think they're already planning 27.
Yes, I can imagine the work that goes into this. This is one of my favorite gatherings, the energy that's here, the excitement that's here, the hope that's here, that turns into execution and it turns into what's happening next in independent community pharmacy. For pharmacy owners listening, what are some of the most important actions our independent pharmacies can take right now to strengthen their businesses?
Well, what I advised them yesterday, as we kicked off the Helf Mart annual meeting here at ideaShare, was to really take a step back, right? Enjoy the show, have the fun, have all the conversations, but really look at the way that you're operationalizing your business. What could you do? Today on the stage, we had Jason Dorsey on the stage, and he was talking about the implementation of AI. And he said that one of the leaders that he worked with bringing into the company told them to say, what is the thing that is your worst 5 minutes of the week? So if owners can do that for all of their staff and look for those things that they can automate, or they can use solutions that they're already getting from memberships that they have, either with McKesson or Helf Mart or any of those other pieces, but really to double down on that. We know staffing is one of those operational pieces that is particularly challenging for them, and Helf Mart is bringing in solutions for that. One of our newest Helf Mart Perks vendors is ShiftRx. They're over there giving discounts to owners for finding shifts so that they can come to ideaShare, they can stay home when their child is sick, and they can look for that longer-term solution. So we're really excited about that. And then the other two components are all about revenue, keeping what you have, so being operationally surveillant, looking for solutions. You know, the Helf Mart Atlas team has a bunch of solutions over there to help with revenue cycle management. We've also got some solutions around protecting and preventing audits and those pieces that are part of Helf Mart membership, and then finally growing revenue. I'm really excited about one of the learning labs that's going to be tomorrow with our American Pharmacists Association Foundation partner that lets any of the pharmacists get paid for patient care services through the network that has offerings. So operationalize, get efficient, make sure that you're protecting the revenue that you already have, and look for those new ways to earn revenue.
I love that. I love the innovation and the thoughts of where ShiftRx has started and now where it is today. Proud of that team. I've been following them for about 5 years. It makes me think of the next question. So where are you seeing pharmacists make the biggest impact on patient care today? What needs to change so pharmacists can continue providing that care?
Yeah, the biggest impact is anywhere you let a pharmacist make an impact is where they'll deliver. I don't want to go back to COVID, but we saw it during COVID with all of the things they did with both testing and treating and immunizations. But to bring it to today, there's chronic condition management, preventing diabetes, working on diabetes prevention programs through that APHA partner opportunity that we talked about. So chronic conditions, we're also tracking closely those respiratory conditions. Flu season is coming up, and pharmacists are going to be armed in the states that allow them to do those immunizations, do that test and treating service, and then hopefully when advocacy comes around, we'll also be able to get that Main Street bill passed so that Medicare patients can receive payment for that. But those are the two biggest hurdles for pharmacy. It's always, can the pharmacists do the services for which they went to school, and making sure that their states or their boards are modernizing the practice acts and things to keep up with what pharmacists already have been doing for years, and then making sure that the payment is tied, that it's not two separate parts of the conversation. It's if there's a service delivered by a willing provider who happens to be a pharmacist, there's a clean, easy way to get them paid for that.
That's awesome to hear. All right, can you share a little bit about how McKesson is advocating on behalf of community pharmacies, including programs like McKesson Amplify?
Yeah, those are like music to my ears, words. It started a couple of years ago when we first put out applications. We didn't quite know what we were going to get with it, but we knew that we wanted to invest. McKesson wanted to invest in those people who could influence policy the fastest, and we knew that the states were where that was, and particularly the state pharmacy associations. So we set up the program, we put out applications, and that first year, across the country, we had pharmacy associations in all 50 states. We're currently in year 2. Everybody who applied for year 2 funding last year received funding. And year 3 applications are open right now for funding that would start being awarded in January of 2027. Seems odd to say that. And when I trace that history, it's about the sustainability of the commitment that McKesson is putting in front of those people who are doing some incredible things. There's membership that is peaking in state pharmacy associations, some of which are run by volunteers. So we're seeing them get the infrastructure to get engaged with their members and get their members to activate and speak up. They're working on legislation that is making meaningful impact for the patients that the pharmacies are serving, right? McKesson's mission is patient comes first. Everything we do is about that. And we're enabling that with this advocacy funding with those state associations who know what their patients and their communities need locally. So we're super, super excited about that. And I can't wait to see the applications. The window closes June 30th, and then the committee will review them blindedly. And then those dollars and the award letters will go out later this fall, about 2027. 3 years of McKesson Amplify funding. But Todd, that's not all McKesson does. We show up at those state pharmacy association events, meeting with the members, encouraging them that if they're not getting engaged with their state associations yet, how easy it is. We've got some AI on the floor here today to help them see that it's about translating your stories into that action. And then one of the programs that McKesson, I think, kind of keeps under wraps, but every year 70 of us just went to the Hill for our own fly-in. And when I say our own fly-in, we go as constituents, but it's pharmacy-facing issues. It's the things that are impacting practice acts. And we go and talk to not only as a constituent, so not as a member of McKesson, it is a McKesson fly-in, but we're talking constituent to constituent in those meetings, and making that impact on behalf to, in addition to all that we do, raising those voices through McKesson Amplify.
That's incredible, and it makes me think why advocacy is so important. So it's critical to build up the profession of pharmacy, and how can pharmacists get more involved, especially if they've never done it before?
Yeah, I said this yesterday. Advocacy seems elusive and scary and something that happens in those big buildings at state capitals or in the federal capitals. But once you've done it, it's really just talking about your patients. It's talking about the care that you're providing and educating. And there's nobody better than pharmacists to educate. Yeah. They've spent their entire careers educating patients about their health. Now they're educating legislators about the health in their communities and the impact that's being made. Tomorrow I'm bringing one of our pharmacy owners up on stage who I met several years ago as a Health Mart member as she was teaching about the patient education that she delivered and the services that our pharmacy and she and her husband in their small little town in Kansas delivered. She became the Kansas Pharmacy Association president and testified. And she was terrified the first time she had to testify until she realized that all she had to do was do what she does best and educate people and make sure that that meeting is accomplished. And they got both of their bills passed. Oh, wow. So that's a preempt for the story, but everybody needs to come and hear what's happening. And when pharmacists just tell the stories that are part of them, right? It's just a conversation. Those legislators and their staff are people too. And when you tell a story that's compelling, it sticks, and then action happens after that.
Yep. I've seen, Nancy, where independent community pharmacies will invite their state rep in their own district and take them through the pharmacy and show them, because it's very the average person doesn't know what's happening behind the scenes, and when they show them the packaging, when they show them the process, the lights start going off and they're like, wow, how important that these services are.
Yeah, Todd, you're very knowledgeable. Doing a visit is one of the most mind-opening situations that independent community pharmacies can do, to not only show them the wheel behind, right, that hamster wheel that the patients don't see with all of the processes, all of the regulation, all of the things that get checked off when a prescription gets filled. I used to work in a community pharmacy and get the question from the patient about how can it take so long to put the pills from the big bottle into the little bottle, and it's really just having that conversation with them, and seeing the patients react and hang on every word that pharmacist is saying to them. Those are some of the best things. HIPAA compliantly, of course, yes. Right? Standard distance, but really helping them see, because seeing is believing, and those visits are so important.
Nancy Lyon, you've always been good to the Pharmacy Podcast Network, giving us some time here at McKesson ideaShare, and we thank you for being on the show.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Todd.
This is Mackenzie Hernandez, Senior Director of Sales at NimbleRx, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
NimbleRx here at ideaShare, McKesson ideaShare 2026. Mackenzie, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Todd.
All right. We have a special multi-part series that's coming out through the Pharmacy Podcast Network. We're so excited to dig deeper into the technology and the solutions that Nimble provides. In case someone's listening doesn't understand what Nimble does, give our listeners an overview. What is NimbleRx?
Absolutely. So NimbleRx is a mobile checkout solution, integrates with the pharmacy management system, helps streamline checkout within our app, or you don't have to use an app, which is great for older patients. Patients can schedule pickups at the pharmacy, delivery. It's completely free, which is not something that you hear from a lot of vendors, especially in independent pharmacy. So we also offer two-way messaging. We just released happy birthday text messages. So there really is something for every pharmacy here at Nimble.
So from my perspective, when I learned about Nimble, it's a way to modernize the checkout experience that young people that have always, I wasn't born with a mobile phone. Mobile phone was new to me. So checkout for me was still about the brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. But when we're in the Amazon culture and we're in the mobile phone culture now, it's been like that for 15, 20 years now. Geez, I'm getting old. NimbleRx as a way to not disrupt the ecosystem of independent pharmacy, not have to put a bunch of new devices in place or equipment, but just being able to say, hey, you can do this from your phone. That's where everybody's living. So it's like modernizing the POS experience, the point of sale experience.
100%. And I really do think that COVID was the turning point for something like Nimble, right? I don't know if it would have worked before that, especially in independent pharmacy. And I think a lot of pharmacies are surprised at how many patients do adopt the mobile checkout solution, even just for pickup. I had a customer today, actually, who used the term nimbleize, right? And so I love it. He says, oh yeah, let's get your prescriptions nimbleized. So patients come in, there's a big long line, and they see these patients come up and just grab and go, just like they would their Starbucks coffee or whatnot. And yeah, it's really bringing that convenience, I think, to the patients and to independent pharmacy.
So there's another aspect that we have to pay attention to, the expansion of home delivery, the expansion of long-term care pharmacy at home. There's all these opportunities that independent pharmacy has. Talk to us about the logistics and the delivery side of this, meaning I'm the delivery person, I go to the home, and they may not be able to come to the store. Then you're able to tell that that patient, download the app. You can pay us through this application or something, so you don't have to come to the store or something. So has that been an opportunity for independent community pharmacies too?
Absolutely. Nimble really started with specialty pharmacy, and the big value proposition was around streamlining deliveries because it's less phone calls. They can collect payment. They can collect signature. Think about compounding, right? Hey, I can collect payment before I even make the medication, right? So there's a lot of value there. But then even for our independent pharmacies who just do, 5 deliveries, 10 deliveries locally in their community, it's been very, very helpful because the signature that Nimble collects, the payment that Nimble collects, that will go into the pharmacy management system and act as that sold signature. So it really does streamline that delivery process, whether you're doing 5 or 500 deliveries.
Well, it's conference season. This has been a busy time, obviously. I don't really get to see anything. I think there's a game tonight. I think they're the local Denver Rockies, I think, are playing the Pittsburgh Pirates. So at least I get a little taste of Pittsburgh.
You get your team.
That's right.
Exciting.
It is exciting. Mackenzie, thanks so much for being part of the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Todd.
Don't miss new interviews with NimbleRx, one of the newest members of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Check out their first episode of the new NimbleRx podcast, The Pharmacist's Playbook for Modernizing Patient Care, with Scott Von Dalen and Kathy Collier, streaming now on your favorite podcast platform.
Mohan, this is so good to meet you live at McKesson ideaShare 2026 in Denver. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we need to learn more about Thinkrr.ai. Talk to us about that platform and how it helps our independent community pharmacies.
Yeah, so we're solving the problem of pharmacies with large volumes of phone calls that are coming in. We're talking pharmacies with 500 to 600 calls coming in a day, and we're answering those for them, integrated deeply into the pharmacy management system, doing things like patient refills, delivery status, general Q&A, after-hour calls in multilingual, and also provider intake forms as well. So we're covering the whole gamut of what type of calls you get in there. And we're seeing 60 to 70% of those calls being answered by our voice AI, which means that the phone lines are finally silent.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Talk to us about some examples that pharmacy owners are using for their call system to personalize it to the pharmacy that's being called.
So our solution is extremely personalizable. You can, from the introduction to how you want the call flow to go, to what you want to escalate into automatically to a pharmacist. So you still have calls that route through. And then you can also, the delivery options that you provide to your patients, all of that can be configured very easily and very smoothly from our system. And then the part that I like the most is the ability to really have personalized analytics. So the things that are important to you, you get to see that right front and center in your dashboard.
All right, so how do we connect to such a system? Does this interface with other software? Do I have to maintain some kind of appliance? Is it all cloud-based? Give us the technical structure.
Let's step back a second.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what the magic of AI is.
Yep.
It's when you don't even know it exists.
True.
Right? When it's just a thin layer that just kind of sits there. And I think that that's really what we're doing for our audience is, yes, there's a software, yes, there's technical solutions, but you shouldn't have to think about it. Mm-hmm. So we work with two pharmacy management systems right now. One is PioneerRx and Liberty. Liberty is all cloud-based solutions. It's like a click of a switch and it's on. Mm-hmm. It's really, really simple. You don't have to do anything. We take care of all of that for you in your setup. 5 to 10 days and they're up and running. With Pioneer, we have one extra step where a lot of them, because it's on-prem, we do the VPN connection with them, work with their technical staff, get that set up, and then again, the simple things set up. The only reason why it takes that long is we take the time to make sure that it's set up and customized and configured correctly to that.
Very good. All right, so what have been some success stories that have come out of your client base, and how is it impacting our independents?
We have a great couple use cases. One of the ones, we work with the USAVE Pharmacy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Bill Snodgrass and Travis Covey from out in North Platte, they're one of the premium and I would say high volume calling pharmacies that we work with. I think they're number 10 in all of US with 1,400 prescriptions they're filling in a day. They are literally getting 600 to 700 calls a day. Jeez. It's insane. And their motto was you never have to wait for a call. So they hired staff to basically fill all of these calls. After our solution went live with them, they were able to, redeploy that staff to do other things that they actually can now help with. Mm-hmm. And they're getting, again, I think they're getting 70% of their calls answered that way. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Incredible. Yeah, it's really cool. And they're actually here at ideaShare, and they're talking to people and telling them their live experience, which is like straight from the horse's mouth, right?
That's the best testimonial in the world.
Right.
We want to hear more from you. We want to bring you, Save, back on the show, maybe This Week in Pharmacy, really dig into this so that we can get this information out to more of our pharmacy owners, understanding that this is a technology that's ready to go right now, today.
Correct.
Give our listeners who are listening the place to reach out to you and get in touch with you.
So the best place to get in touch with us is pharmacy.thinkrr.ai, and then book an appointment with us. You can get a live demo. We'll walk you through it, and yeah, that's it. It's very simple.
All right. In the show notes, by the way, we're going to have a link to the website of Thinkrr.ai. Mohan, thank you for this time. This is great.
Thank you, Todd.
Ryan, welcome to the McKesson ideaShare post show here at the IPC booth. It's great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you, Todd.
All right, Denver. I come here. I don't really. This is like my third. I think this is my third time in Denver, and I still don't know anything about Denver because I go from the airport to the car to the trade show, and that's it. But have you ever spent any time in Denver?
Sadly, no. Every time I've been to Denver, it was to drive to, Steamboat or Breckenridge, or just going to Colorado Springs and I'm on a layover or something like that.
Exactly. I have family and friends who don't travel really, and they'll be like, boy, it must be nice to travel at so many different places. And I'm like, 80% of my travel is airport, hotel room, conference room, and then going home. So I don't get to see anything. So I got to take time sometime to see Denver for sure.
Well, hopefully you're going to go to the see the Colorado Rockies play later.
I would. A matter of fact, I think I am, which would be great. I would look forward to seeing that and spending some time in the community around us. Independent pharmacy is under some real interesting stress. Tools that they use, technologies that they use is quite important. I want to hear more about Lumistry and what you guys are doing. Describe to our listeners a little bit about the intelligent next-gen IVR system that you guys have.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest operational pain points that we see is just managing call volume and interruptions. We've all seen it when we go into the pharmacy. The phone rings off the hook. Pharmacy teams are constantly interrupted by even routine calls or refill requests. Is my prescription ready yet? Did the doctor send over my prescription? Store hours, general questions. And those calls are absolutely important, but they take staff away from doing dispensing or clinical services or patient counseling. Traditional IVR systems, which is what we're probably best known for, is, the phone system. You call in, you have the fixed menus, press 1 for this, 2 for that, and that helps to reduce a lot of the load, but you're still relying on patients navigating menus. You still have, if you've got a patient that has a whole lot of prescriptions, that's a lot of them keying in a lot of prescription numbers. And so what's, really new and big right now is the next evolution is the AI-powered voice automation, which is the Lumistry Voice AI Assistant. And so instead of pressing buttons, patients can simply speak naturally, ask their questions in their own words, get real-time answers that connect directly to, and we're connected directly to the pharmacy system, so we can see, okay, the prescription is ready, or yes, your doctor did send it in. Oh, by the way, you said you'd like to refill your albuterol. Well, you also have lisinopril and Lasix. Would you like to go ahead and fill those as well? And from an operational standpoint, that means fewer interruptions throughout the workday, and they can focus more, your staff can focus more on high-value work.
So what is the process to getting such a system in place, and is there any API integration with a pharmacy system, or how does that all work from a technical perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. So we work closely with the pharmacy PMS system. We benefit, thanks to our scale, to have integrations with all the big names, the Red Sales, the Outcomes, and Liberties and everybody else. And so we interact with those systems to not only be able to pass prescriptions, but the new thing that's really important to be able to power an agent is the ability to recognize and pull information out of the patient profile, to be able to check status and to be able to get that information in a timely fashion.
That's great to hear. What is the evolution of Lumistry? What's next coming as innovative products that you're putting out?
Yeah. I think the next evolution for us is really going to be how can we handle more of the patient-facing aspects, interactions with the patient. A lot of pharmacies maybe they have a patient portal through their PMS or through maybe even their wholesaler, and those things check the box, but they might not be on the same tier as what CVS might have or Walgreens, and we want to arm our customers with the ability to compete with those big box stores or with the Amazons. And so with the Lumistry One patient portal, what we have is we've combined it into the ability for patients to refill a prescription, request transfer, book appointments, complete forms, access educational resources and videos about their medication. They can, send a message to the pharmacy. They can pull up, required documentation like med guides, which allow pharmacies to be paperless. And so it's really combining these things into one area, one resource that the that the patient can interact with. And then, of course, tying the IVR and the AI agent into all of that is really the next step, because we're seeing such an acceleration in AI and the integrations with health tech at this time.
All right, Ryan, I really appreciate you sharing on our post-show and coverage of the McKesson ideaShare. I hope to have you back on another podcast and bring along a pharmacy that has implemented the Lumistry systems and really unpack some of the additional value that it brings to the pharmacy operations. But thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Todd.
Hey, here at the McKesson ideaShare 2026 with Veronica German and Alex Berce. And Alex, you're the president of Good Value Pharmacy.
Hey, that's right.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Veronica, you are with pharmacy. You're a pharmacy sales consultant at McKesson, and that in Van Buren Township, Michigan.
Yes, right outside of Detroit.
Veronica, tell me about a program that has really helped you help your clients and help their patients through AAPA that you were describing before we started recording.
Yes, Todd. So AAPA has a portal called Advantage, and as a pharmacy sales consultant, I'm on the road visiting my pharmacies. And one thing that I really do like about the Advantage portal is when my AAPA customers call me, if I just happen to be on the road and they're questioning compliance or what's their GCR at that time, I can direct them right to the portal, help them get logged in, let them know, okay, let's see where you are for the month and what you need to do to increase that GCR, whether it be buy a few more generics, where you need to balance those generics and brands, or where you are for the quarter, because we're coming up on a quarter here at ideaShare end of June, which will be the end of Q1, and that will let them know what they're looking for as far as their base brand cost of goods for the following quarter. So it's just something that I can guide them to get some quick answers. If we need to see how they get to the next tier, all of that is right there available in the Advantage portal, and it's very helpful for my AAPA clients.
That's great. Veronica, thank you for that. Alex, you are commanding 5 pharmacies in your area, impacting a lot of lives that you're serving. Talk to us how this program impacts you and your pharmacies.
Yeah, it directly impacts our financials and our compliance. Specifically towards the end of the month and the end of the quarter, we're logging into the AAPA Advantage portal every day to see where we're at. And by the time we're getting to the last few purchasing days of the month, we have an idea of where we're at and where we want to be. And so we're shooting to be just above our goal for a certain rebate tier, right? So we want to be just above it, not too far above where it imbalances maybe the next purchasing period. And so oftentimes, it allows us to know exactly where we're at, and then we can make decisions based on that. So, for example, some months we might want to hold off on ordering brands until the beginning of the month. Or some months we would decide to order up on brands so that the next period we have a better shot at a better rebate. So it can kind of go both ways. But what often happens, the most likely outcome is that we order just enough generics to get us above the next rebate tier. And oftentimes we're running reports, which medications are we going to use in that first week of the month. And so we'll order those high-dollar generic items at the end of the month to allow us to meet that rebate tier, or in the case of like a quarterly metric, our cost of goods for the next period. And so that's how we use the portal to maximize our financials and profitability.
Yes.
Is this a monthly report or a weekly report, or how often are you getting the information sent?
So the great thing about the portal is that it's live. There's about a 1-day delay, right? So when we're looking at our numbers at the end of the month, we're actually manually adding in that last invoice from today. And so it really is very close to up to date, up to the moment.
Veronica, this has to give you joy when you're working with your pharmacies in your territories, and they get excited because the data is coming back positive.
Absolutely.
Especially in an age where independent pharmacies are under so much pressure.
Absolutely. It's very helpful, like I said, and it has all the information right there at their fingertips. And it's a tool that I also use when I'm making those visits. Come on, let's log into the portal, let's see where we stand. Also, some customers sometimes forget the deal details a little bit. The deal details are laid out right there in the portal. So it is very helpful. My AAPA clients love it, and it's something I love to use. It's definitely a helpful tool.
Well, shout out to AAPA for assisting us, the Pharmacy Podcast Network, and being here at the McKesson ideaShare. Alex, I have to bring you back on the Pharmacy Podcast. We have a lot of things that we'd like to talk to you about as a multi-store operator and owner. I want to thank you, Alex, for being on the show. And Veronica, thank you so much for setting the stage for the information around this very impactful system.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Crystal Lennartz, president of Health Mart and Health Mart Atlas, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Crystal Lennartz back on the McKesson ideaShare press coverage here at the Pharmacy Podcast. So excited to have spent some time with you. Thank you for making this time, and thank you for having us back at ideaShare.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. It's my favorite conference of the year.
Yes, absolutely. All right, and they seem to be coming faster and faster, and I'm just like, I blinked, and it's like it's conference season again. This always tells me to get ready for the upcoming conferences in the summer and fall as well. So it's like, get ready for more. We're always concerned about the success of our independent community pharmacies. How would you describe the current environment for our independents, and what's getting harder and what's getting better? Where do you see momentum?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a difficult time in independent pharmacy. There's a lot of change on the horizon, whether it's regulatory change at the state or federal level, operational pressures on the pharmacy, staffing challenges, especially in some of those hard to reach areas. But independent pharmacies are so resilient. I continue to be amazed by their resilience, and I think there's real momentum around pharmacy care delivery and patient care closer to home. So it's exciting to see that momentum, and I think we've never been closer to having pharmacists recognized as providers and being able to provide those critical services in their communities.
I agree. We're also seeing an increase in the home services that is being pulled from independent community pharmacies, the people that know their patients best in their community. So where are Health Mart and Health Mart Atlas leaning in the most help? Like, how are they giving the most help to pharmacies to stay strong and competitive in today's environment?
Yeah, Health Mart is really helping to strengthen what happens behind the pharmacy counter. So whether it's resources, support, education, just a few examples that we're talking about here at ideaShare, for example, is our Health Mart Perks program, where we have vendor discounts for more than 40 different vendors. The one that seems to be having a lot of momentum at this show in particular is a staffing solution, particularly in those hard-to-reach areas, whether you need to fill a single shift or find a new pharmacist or technician. There's also a lot of focus on training our staff, not only new staff, but also ensuring our current staff can practice at the top of their license, whether that be the pharmacist or the technician taking on additional responsibilities as well. And then we've just kicked off a nationwide digital social media campaign for Health Mart, so that's something that's new for us this year in addition to the local marketing that the pharmacies do on their behalf. And then on a Health Mart Atlas front, we're focused on reimbursement and helping pharmacies navigate all the changes that are coming with reimbursement and ensuring that they're ready for those.
Excellent. Excellent. So we spoke about Health Mart and Health Mart Atlas last year at McKesson ideaShare. What has happened in the last year that you're most proud of, and what do those accomplishments mean for our independent pharmacy owners?
Yeah, one of the things I'm most proud of is Health Mart being recognized as a network in several meaningful ways this last year. The first is #1 in customer satisfaction among chain drugstores with J.D. Power. And then more recently, McKesson and Health Mart being recognized by the American Pharmacists Association, the HAB Dunning Award for care and practice. And those aren't a reflection of us, but more so each of our Health Mart pharmacies and the care that they provide in their communities and to the patients that they serve. So that's definitely something I've been proud of this last year.
That's awesome news, Crystal. So what does the future look like for independent pharmacies, and how do you see Health Mart and Health Mart Atlas evolving to help pharmacies thrive in the future?
I would say Health Mart and Health Mart Atlas are solely focused on helping our independent pharmacies thrive in the future, and a few of the ways that we're looking forward is, as we're navigating for Health Mart Atlas some of these changes in reimbursement structures, helping ensure that they're educated on those changes, ensuring that they have transparency, so full access to all their contract copies on our portal, and ability to access information in terms of monitoring their reimbursement and reconciliation. And then on the Health Mart side, helping them credential and be prepared as care evolves and they need to add new skill sets. So helping them as the environment around them changes. And I think there's so much, a majority of our owners are owner-operators, single-store owner-operators, so they're working in their business every day. I think helping them to navigate that change and really be future-ready as the industry changes is a key focus.
Yes, more clinical services, where the dispensing fee isn't the only source of income. There's going to be other things that they're going to be able to do, and the community's beginning to make that connection that, like, wow, my pharmacy's doing more than just dispensing my medication. That's huge. And having a brand behind it, and then, like you said, a network of pharmacies on a national stage, I think that's really important to educate the public of what pharmacy can actually do.
Yes, 100%. And all the pharmacies are unique and independent in their own way, but I think there's power in having that unifying national brand and support behind them.
Absolutely. Crystal, this has been wonderful to catch up with you at McKesson ideaShare 2026, and we can't wait to see you next year.
Thanks so much for having me, Todd.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Kiro Claudios with TGM Labs, and you are listening to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Hero here at the McKesson ideaShare in Denver. It's so good to link up with you. Didn't get a chance to talk with you in other conferences. How are you doing?
Amazing. I mean, the vibe here is great. Lots of talking, lots of demos we've done. It's been great so far.
We feel the same way. Lots of energy, lots of positive ideas coming out. I love that sharing ideas to make independent community pharmacy better. Something that has to be nailed down, defined better, explained better, is how we get AI into the community pharmacy, how we get artificial intelligence into the operations. Talk to us about the one factor that's kind of rising to the top in independent community pharmacy more than any others, and that's the factor of data. Like, talk to us about data entry and how TGM Labs is stepping up.
Great question. So far, with all the talks that I've had since I came here, data entry is without a doubt the biggest bottleneck in retail. I mean, can you imagine of all the things that I've heard so far? Every retailer that comes in, data entry, big headache, big bottleneck that comes in through. Prescriptions come in 500, 600 per day. Can you imagine the amount of time each technician spends? At least 4 to 5 hours of their daytime is just doing data entry. I mean, it's 2026, and the AI boom is real. If you're not on the train, you're going to be left behind. That's really the easiest way I could explain it so far.
That is true. So talk to me about how that would... I'm a pharmacy owner. I haven't leveraged AI for data entry. Like, what do I have to do as a pharmacy owner to get started?
That's a good question. So the best way I could explain is that you got to start off with the mindset. If you have something that works and you don't want to change it, that's fair, that's great. But do you want to expand? Do you want to increase that volume that you're going to be getting? If not, then this is not the product for you. But if you want to expand, you want to grow, then you have to leverage AI into yours. So TJM Labs is the pivotal point. TJM Labs has been here for 2.5 years. We're the founders. We started this. We're the ones that know every PMS system that exists. So we're aware of the situations that you guys are going through. So the best way to start off is really, I mean, you could check us out, TGM Labs. We give you a pitch, a small demo, really to explain to you how the bot works in terms of data entry.
And then the data entry, this is the data that's going into my pharmacy management system, and then TGM Labs is actually doing that for me.
Yes, exactly. So the way it works really is that our AI bots uses large language model with Vision AI. It sits on top of your PMS system. A script comes in from a provider. It's the typical process. Your technician logs in with their credentials. Our AI bot does the same thing. It reads it off. It uses the SIGs that are specific to your own PMS system. And one thing I like to say is that our AI bots are different. So our AI bot right now, that's whatever's doing the work right now, is different from an AI bot for our next client. They're all very customizable to your own specific needs. And data entry is pretty much similar throughout the way. Of course, different pharmacies have different workflows. So we like to work with your team to specify the things that you want to change or add on it. And from there on, our AI bot just takes over.
All right, you heard it here. Go to tjmlabs.com. That's the address?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. And then ask for a demo, ask to understand how this works with your specific pharmacy, and be very detailed with the TJM Labs team. Be as detailed as possible, and then they'll get you set up. I love the energy of your team. I love the fact that it's driven by a pharmacist that started the company. I think that's special in and of itself. We appreciate you being on the show. Got to have you back on Twerks.
Of course. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi, this is Mark Essensa, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Mark, it's so good to be here in the IPC booth again at McKesson ideaShare 2026 in Denver. How are you?
I'm great. It's always exciting to have you in the booth. You've certainly gotten a lot of attention here in the booth with a lot of sit-downs. I've been watching you all the last couple of days. You're a busy guy.
Absolutely. This is the final interview of the 3-part series that we did here at McKesson ideaShare. This has been a special event for us as a publication that strives to get information out to not only our independent community pharmacies, but partners out there, organizations out there, politicians out there who didn't get to come and be here, but they get to listen to the words of partners and tech companies and our pharmacy owners, and that's what this is all about. It's about the pharmacy owner. It's about empowering the pharmacy owner to empower their communities through healthcare that they can't get anywhere else because of issues that, of course, we're all experiencing. I want you to tell our listeners, share with our listeners how this event has gone and what's new in the IPC booth this year.
So, interestingly enough, so I've been doing this 25 years now, and I've been doing many ideaShares. As far as engagement with stores, this has probably been the most successful one we've ever seen. So we've had the booth has been full the last several days of people signing up for programs that we've launched. For whatever reason, there just seems to be a more optimistic vibe this year. I think certainly the PBM reform for Part D was a big part of it. A lot of legislative stuff and successes this year. But just overall, I think people are starting to to come to the realization that there's still opportunities to make independent pharmacy successful. In our booth this year, our biggest thing was we launched our new GLP-1 program, where we're able to access all the Lilly Direct and the Novo Direct contracts, where the pricing that you see online for the $199, $299 for all the cash pay, that's adjudicating at EWP minus $14.75. We rolled out that new contract that we have, and it's been extremely successful. We've had nothing but a lineup on the sign-up side of everybody coming in to listen to exactly how the program works. But to be able to have our members start to play in the GLP-1 space on par with your online pharmacies like Him and Her and Row, as well as direct with Lilly or Novo Nordisk.
That's exciting. That is so exciting. So what about the partnerships? You have really built a robust base of partners who come here. Technology companies, we got an opportunity to talk about FullScript. Talk to us about some of those partnerships as well.
So we've launched a couple of new relationships this year. So we have what at IPC what's known as the Vendor Advantage Network. So besides
we're part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And besides being a volume aggregator on the pharmaceutical side, which we are with McKesson, we also do this with other vendors, and to bring useful and vetted vendors to our stores such they can implement them in their stores. We had a great time here with FullScripts. They've had dozens and dozens of signups for their new program for selling oral peptides, as well as high-end functional medicine vitamins, as well as all the other products they have. They said this is one of their most successful events that they've ever had in terms of getting new members. And then we also had the first foray for IPC into introducing AI into pharmacy. How do you take that first step into AI? And it's a logical step that's inexpensive. And so we've introduced an IVR AI product with Thinkrr.ai, who's been in our booth. And they've had a lineup, people waiting to get in to see the demos. I actually did a live demo last night on stage, where I called the pharmacy, and I actually did it right on my phone into the speaker. Talk about taking a risk, kind of like Elon Musk did with the steel balls through the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
So I took a risk, but it worked out just fine with the IVR. Picked up my medications, refilled my script, knew what I was doing, and asked me if I wanted to pick up, and hung up the phone, and so it couldn't have gone better. So those are the big things. But these vendor partnerships that we have are extremely important, because there are so many opportunities out there for independent pharmacies to engage with other vendors that, maybe just starting up, they may be new, but what we're able to do is we're able to get contract pricing for them to make sure that they're getting the most competitive offer, but they're also been vetted.
Mark, something else I want to give a shout out. The government relations team that's part of IPC is it's a head and shoulders above, just so integrated with members and member stories. Earlier on the show, we were talking with Tim Lawson and John Cavello about some champion wins out of the state of Illinois. How important is connecting the state representative with the community pharmacy, and really making government relations a true thing that really helps to look out for the community's health?
So it's one of our largest cost centers here at IPC. So we invest a lot of money within in the government affairs space. What's really important is to constantly have face-fronting all of our issues that we have at independent pharmacy, because at the end of the day, a lawmaker they're a generalist. They're not any specificity. They're dealing with military bills, they're dealing with finance bills, they're dealing with other industries. So our government affairs and the money that we spend on that, both at the state and the federal level, really goes towards keeping our top issues, such as ECAPs as well as PBM reform, front of mind in front of these legislators. So it's a worthwhile investment that we take of our members on their behalf, in order to make sure that we can either engage directly with these lawmakers, as we did with Brittany Patterson, who was at our meeting last night and engaged with our members and had a speech off the stage, or it's a matter of setting up our members to be able to give them forms where they can reach out to their members in order to either have them in the store or sending letters to Washington in a pre-formatted format. So it's extremely important to what we do, and it's a large part of the company.
Coming into the second half of 2026, this is a supercharged event that's got us excited about the rest of the year, what's coming. It's a positive vibe, like you said. The energy's been all positive. What about 2027? Where are we going to be?
Well, I think the things that we're starting to work on is we're starting to work on brand manufacturers to see where it is that we can, at the retail space, start to encourage brand manufacturers to potentially see the value of what an independent pharmacy does.
Yeah.
We've had some success with some contract pricing that have come in from various brand manufacturers that members are able to access on their ordering platform. But we are getting a lot more traction as manufacturers are seeing the actual value of independent pharmacy that, quite honestly, we've never had a voice in the last, ever since I've been in this industry. So I think what we're going to do is continue on down that path, try to get contract pricing on the brand side, so that way we can kind of mitigate some of these things that the PBMs do to us with the AWP minus 24s, if we can get contract pricing. So that's our big focus for 2027.
Well, I want to thank IPC for having us in your booth again, and us being able to put together just an amazing coupling of insights and interviews here at McKesson ideaShare 2026, and we'll be part of the booth in 2027. We're going to McKesson ideaShare in Las Vegas.
Yes, we'll be at the Mandalay Bay, and we look forward to seeing you there, as well as hopefully a lot of your listeners will be in.
Thank you for listening to the coverage of ideaShare, McKesson's ideaShare 2026. A shout out to IPC and AAPA for all of your support of the Pharmacy Podcast Network.